I hadn't been looking at them, but I did now. They were composed of oddly familiar pieces of ivory. Finest specimens of human molars, he informed me. Well, I inspected them. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, he flipped his sleeves up over his coat. Yeah, Gatsby's very careful about women. He would never so much as look at old friend's wife. When the subject of his instinctive trust returned to the table and sat down, Mr. Wolfsham drank his coffee with a jerk and got to his feet. "I've enjoyed my lunch," he said, "and I'm going to run off from you two young men before I outstay my welcome." "Don't hurry, Maya," said Gatsby with enthusiasm. Mr. Walsham raised his hand in sort of benediction. "You're very polite, but I do belong to another generation," he announced solemnly. "You sit here and discuss your sports and your young ladies and your—" He supplied an imaginary noun with another wave of his hand. "As for me, I am 50 years old, and I won't impose myself on you any longer." As he shook hands and turned away from his tragic nose was trembling. I wondered if I'd said anything to offend him. "He becomes very sentimental at times," explained Gatsby. "This is one of his sentimental days. He's quite a character around New York, like dancing on Broadway." "Who is he, anyhow? An actor? No. A dentist? Meyer Wolfsheim? No, he's a gambler." Gatsby hesitated, then added coolly, "He's the man who fixes the World Series back in—" "Fixed the World Series?" I repeated. The idea staggered me. I remembered, of course, that the World Series had been fixed in 1990. But I had thought of it at all, I would have thought it was a thing that merely happened, the end of some inevitable chain. It never occurred to me that one man could ever play with faith of 50 million people, with single-mindedness of a burglar blowing a safe. "How did he happen to do that?" I asked after a minute. "He just saw the opportunity." "Why isn't he in jail?" "They can't get him, old smart. He's a smart man." I insisted on paying the check. As the waiter brought my change, I caught sight of Tim Buchanan across the crowded room. "Come along with me for a minute," I said. "I've got to say hello to someone." When he saw us, Tom jumped up and looked at and took a half a dozen steps in the direction. "Where have you been?" he demanded eagerly. "Daisy's furious because you haven't called up." "This is Mr. Gatsby, Buchanan." They shook hands briefly and strained unfamiliar look of embarrassment over Gatsby's face. "How have you been, anyways?" demanded Tom of me. "How do you happen to come up with this bar to eat?" "I've been having lunch with Mr. Gatsby." I turned to Mr. Gatsby, but he was no longer there.